So for obvious reasons, I am and will always be a huge Jeremy Lin fan. His time in the league had some insane highs and some crippling lows, but as of the news yesterday, his NBA story might not be over yet. The 32-year-old point guard intends to sign with the Golden State Warriors G League team that resides in Santa Cruz. Of course, this all requires clearance from his current team in the Beijing Ducks. But let's cut to the chase and ask the burning question people will have about this signing. Is he actually going to come back and play in NBA games? The G League, just like the minor leagues in baseball, is a grueling gauntlet of hungry athletes that will stop at nothing to make it to the next level. So does Jeremy have the ability to separate himself from the pack? To answer this question, we gotta go to the tape. First, we need to look at how he did in his most recent NBA minutes. Then, we gotta dive into his time with the Chinese Basketball Association that started in 2019. So let's go to Atlanta in 2018, where Lin is signed to mentor Trae Young. Lin was coming off a devastating knee injury the year prior, and his minutes with the Hawks and then eventually the Raptors that season were very limited. He would end the year averaging around 10 points a game with a few assists. This wasn't a year where Lin was getting real consistent playing time, and once he recovered fully from his knee injury, one could wonder what he would do for a team that gave him such an opportunity. To see how he would perform with that setup, you would have to look at him in Brooklyn in 2017. During this season, Lin actually scored the most points per game in his entire career at just under 15. He shot 44% from the field and was dishing out 5 assists per contest, along with his scoring efforts. He was a starting caliber point guard, no doubt about it. So just 3 years removed from that season, why does it feel like everything has changed? How did he go from a starting point guard to a backup's backup in Toronto? It has a lot more to do with health and opportunity than it does ability. To prove that, let's look at his time in Beijing last year. Like any NBA player would, Lin dominated the competition in China, averaging over 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. But that isn't what makes me think that he could still do his thing in the league. I mean, Jimmer Fredette could score 80 in China. It's how Lin looked while doing it. A big part of his game was his explosive first step. For many reasons, most fans underrated his speed when healthy. I mean, this guy had a great ability to change his pace rapidly and get to the rim. This was also the area where people were most concerned about after his many injuries. But in his games in China, he looked healthy to say the least. Lin also improved as a jump shooter every year he was in the league. With all of the off time to spend in the gym, I'm sure he's the best shooter he's ever been. Through all the injuries, he had to adapt and learn to score with or without blowing by defenders. So if his knees are good to go, I see no reason why Lin couldn't score effectively in proportion to his minutes. Now, I'm obviously biased like I mentioned at the start of this video, but even other NBA players have talked about how Jeremy probably deserved more time on the court. Gilbert Arenas went as far to say that Lin was stripped of his true potential, and that he was and is a special player. I know that it's been a while since Linsanity, but if Lin was to come off the bench and coordinate a second unit, all signs say go in terms of him having a place in the NBA. Will he get that chance again? Who knows? But what I do know is that I'm not alone when I say I'm glad to have him back in the States to run it back one more time.